Hi folks, happy December. December, January, February, the winter months. This one I'm really glad I have my indoor plants. Other times of the year, when it's nice outside, I think I do think more about my temperate species trees, but they're all dormant now and kind of asleep. So the winter months are when I really start paying more attention to these plants really, and I'm glad that I have them. I just wanted to give a quick tour of my indoor plants here. And I guess I'll start first with the light. This is a Spider Farmer light that I got off Amazon. And I really like it. I've had it 2 years now. I think it's working well because the plants are growing underneath it. And yeah, it's quite bright. So I recommend if you're serious about growing plants inside, definitely don't skimp on a grow light. Buy a good one. I'm glad I did. So I'll start here on the left. And I guess back to the light, I keep it on for like about 12 hours a day, maybe 13. I think sometimes in the summer I up it to 14 because I do keep some of these plants just in here year round. Although a lot I move outside. But yeah, I think right now it's on for maybe 12 hours a day. Alright, so we'll start on the left here, and these are some trees I've already shown. So this is my ficus again. I did a video on this one, and yeah, it's doing great. Doing really well. Yeah, don't have much to say about that. These actually live in my windowsill upstairs, a south-facing windowsill, but I brought them down here for the tour. Here's the jade I worked on, my dwarf jade. It is a Chrysola ovata, and it was a little slow to leaf out, and it really does grow slowly on me, I think because it's a dwarf variety, but it's doing well. And here's the Chaera afra, which is also often called a dwarf jade by common name. And yeah, this is the one that I split up and divided. It was in this pot right here. And then I divided it, and all these little Chaera afra, Lilliput is the variety, into small pots. So they're growing. They're actually, though, not doing great. Like this one, this was even when I was outside in the summer. The new leaves are really yellow, and I'm used to new leaves having lighter green foliage. It's kind of a common trait for a lot of plants, but these seem to be like a sickly yellow, so I don't know what's going on. Feel free if you know what might be causing this. Maybe it's a nutrient deficiency. I do fertilize these with Miracle-Gro occasionally, although I've kind of stopped fertilizing a lot of stuff for the winter. Although I could probably fertilize these year-round. Anyway, so they're doing all right. They definitely grew since when I first put them in the pots. All this is new growth. But I know the Lilliput variety is not a fast grower. Here's my bougainvillea. And yeah, I love these bracts because they're not true flowers, so they last forever. It's almost like since they are between a leaf and a flower, somewhere in the middle, that's kind of how long they last. They last maybe not as long as a leaf, but longer than your typical flower. So yeah, I love it. I love it. It emerges orange and then it goes to this pink. So it seems to be doing well. Here is not a bonsai. This is a I'm blanking on it, string of turtles. It's a Peperomia variety. And I have this because I dabble, and when I dabble is actually maybe generous. I have like 2 terrariums down there in those pots there. There's actually a lot of people that do like terrariums on YouTube too, not just bonsai. So anyway, yeah, I started those 2 terrariums like a couple years ago. They're pretty fun. And then I'll swing over here to my kids' terrariums. It's like an Earth Day tradition. Every Earth Day we kind of do a refresh on their terrariums. And yeah, it's kind of fun. Fun to see what happens over the course of a year. So we've been doing these for like 2 or 3 years. I don't put them directly underneath the grow light. I think actually they get a little too much light sometimes. Anyway, so that's partly why I have this plant. It's a good terrarium plant. As is this one right here, Phytonia. And it's the skeleton variety. Here, I'm gonna move this. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this too. So it is only 63 degrees Fahrenheit down here, which is not, like if I want these plants to grow, I'd need to heat this room more. But I'm too cheap to heat this room more. So They are cold now, and actually they're not limited by, you know, light. Definitely not limited by water. I water them, but temperature-wise, they are kind of they kind of go semi-dormant, a lot of these plants during this time of year, but they still look nice. So I just wanted to show you the detail on the skeleton variety. And yeah, this is a good terrarium plant. But it's a cool plant. I like it. It's like really just creeps on the very base of this moss right here. So there's like kind of a good symbiotic thing going with this moss and the Fittonia. I think they're happy together. So here's a Chrysola ovata. I don't know if I've probably showed this, yeah, in my succulent video. So Chrysola ovata, it really did well. I recommend for Chrysola, even if you're just growing Chrysola, just to grow them as a plant and not really necessarily a bonsai, take them out of that nursery soil and put them in bonsai soil. This thing is very happy right now with this level of light and bonsai soil. I think it's quite established in this pot. So yeah, I like that variety. It's new to me. I just got it this summer. Here's my big old fat Chrysola ovata. And I know I've shown this tree too before. And I actually don't, I mean, I like this plant, but as a bonsai, I don't really like it. See, it has that long, straight trunk. It was super tall, like way, way tall. Twice this height. It didn't actually fit underneath my grow light. So I chopped it right there. And I got this for free from work. Somebody just left it in their office, so I adopted it. And I don't love the shape of it for bonsai. But there's actually a branch on it I love. And let's see, well, it's this branch right here. This isn't the best angle, but if I cut it right here, it'd make a really nice bonsai actually. So I might just lop that off, and I don't know what to do with the rest. I mean, I'll keep it, but yeah, it's a cool plant just because it's really old. I don't know how old it is, but you can see this trunk, pretty fat, so it's probably at least a decade old. Yeah, so orchids. This is a moth orchid, or Phalaenopsis. I don't know if I said that exactly right. Like, this is one of the easiest orchids to care for, apparently. And I gotta say it's true. This I got in March, I think, around March in the spring, and it had flowers on it. Then the flowers stayed around for like a month, 2 months, 3 months. I couldn't believe how long lasting the flowers are. Anyways, it was done flowering. Here's one of the old stalks. And then this late summer, it started flowering for me again, started sending up shoots again. So these are all new flowers that I've gotten. And yeah, I really love it. It's like a miniature variety. And as far as I can tell, you know, orchids, you read a lot on the internet, like they get a bad rap, like they're hard to take care of. Well, the key with Phalaenopsis, I think, and probably a lot of orchids, is you don't want to overwater them. So, and you plant them in really loose substrate like bonsai. So they're kind of like bonsai in that you just don't overwater them. I water this thing like once a week maybe, and it's in that tiny little pot. I mean, it's tiny, the roots are smashed in there, and it's just in sphagnum moss. So about once a week I water it. I think it likes the temperature down here, like cooler. I think that's maybe what induced the flowering. And of course the nice bright grow light. You know, that it can handle this grow light just fine, just like the succulents. I think it actually really likes it. It seems to be thriving. It's even growing new leaves, and the roots are just growing. So yeah, orchids are cool. I like them. I could see myself getting more orchids and getting into it, kind of like bonsai. And what else about orchids? Oh, another thing why they're like bonsai is they're really long-lived. So we'll see how long I can keep this one. Okay, I already talked about my Porchicarias. Here's a cutting from this jade right here. Just a cutting. I like this one right here. It's developing well. Just fun. I like small bonsai. What else? What do I got? Here's another orchid that my wife, actually this is my first orchid my wife bought for me. And again, it like was flowering when she got it for me. The flowers died after, after sticking around for months. And now it's sending up a new spike. It's a new flower. This one isn't doing as well though. It has some sort of maybe... I've read about like viruses with orchid. I wonder if it has a virus. I'm not sure. But it did give me this new leaf. And it maybe doesn't appreciate the bright grow light as much. Or maybe it's a little too much because it's quite reddish. But it's sending up the flower spikes. So I just keep it here. Here's some more cuttings off that same jade. My dwarf cursola. That I'm just, I don't know, going to give away. Or I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Here is, I kind of like this one. Just started this one. When I repotted the other golem jade over there, there was kind of like, I think this was like a separate trunk, and it was actually, I think it was just rooted separately. So I put it in its own pot. There we go. All right, so Pelargonium. I was really kind of excited about Pelargoniums for a while. I had a few, but I've since kind of just let them go by the wayside a little bit. Actually, I forgot about one. It was planted outside, and then it got cold. And Pelargoniums cannot handle frost. They're also called like zonal geraniums or geraniums, but technically I just kind of stick with the Pelargonium name. Kind of the amazing thing about this plant that it just astounds me is I got this plant the spring of 2023. So I've had it a year and a half now, and it has flowered the entire time. It's been flowering for a year and a half. I can't believe it. This summer I put it out in my grow box with my trees that I planted in the ground to just give it a break, and it grew great out there. Started flowering again, so it's basically flowered non-stop. One thing I like about Pelargoniums is they have scented leaves, so if you like crush the leaves a little bit, they're often scented. This one's kind of has a faint lemon scent. And again, it's the flowers. It's been flowering forever. This was a really like compact growth habit. So I'm planning to bonsai this. These are long-lived plants. So the trunk is still tiny, so I haven't really done much pruning on it. I've just kind of up-potted it a few times. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this, after the trunk gets a little bigger, maybe after a year or two, maybe I'll put it in a tiny little bonsai pot. But yeah, I'm kind of doing this as an experiment. I know other people have bonsaied Pelargoniums. You can find a few images online, but not a super common species for bonsai. Let's see, before I talk about Tiny Limey, we'll go to my Chaera. I've also done a video on this guy, and I will have a few things to say about this tree too. So you might remember I repotted this tree and pruned all the foliage off of it, and then it sat for like a couple months and didn't really put out new leaves. And I realized it was trying to put out new leaves, but they couldn't get going. They kept just dying off, and something was eating them or infecting them, and the new leaves would just turn brown and die. And I could tell it was like some kind of pathogen or insect. So I sprayed it with soap and water, and that helped. It did. It finally got a few leaves to get going. Now some of these older leaves on here are from earlier this summer, or I guess late summer actually. But then it happened again where it was putting out new leaves and they're turning brown and dying. I thought, okay, well, I didn't quite get it all the way, and I was kind of at a loss. I think I sprayed it again. It was still happening. So what I did was I got, shoot, now I'm blanking on what I got. I got not hydrogen peroxide, isopropyl alcohol. That's the word I was searching for. Isopropyl alcohol, 70% isopropyl alcohol. And I sprayed it, then just let it sit for a few days. Sprayed it again after a few days. Sprayed it again. I just kind of just went all out on whatever it was eating it. I said, okay, I'm just going to make this plant super toxic. And after doing that like 5 times over the course of a few weeks, I just sprayed it. that seemed to get whatever was attacking this plant, and it sent out these nice new unblemished leaves. So anyways, just a tip, isopropyl alcohol 70%, just let loose on it. I wasn't too worried about using on these plants because if you keep this species, you know that the leaves are like pretty thick and waxy. So they seem to be fine with all that alcohol. And a cool thing about this tree that I like, this variety, is it's just called Mini. That's what it was on the tag. I haven't found any information about the cultivar Mini, but it is a really small variety of Schefflera. So you can see these new leaves are quite tiny. So yeah, I'm pretty happy because I'm a couple years in on this, and I do like the plant, but it was frustrating me just all those new leaves dying continually. All right, so I'll talk about these plants. I don't love these plants at all. These aren't mine. This is my wife's plant, and I keep it because I love her and she loves this plant. Even though she really doesn't care about this plant much. I don't know, I think I care about it more than her. But she expects me to keep it alive for her, so I do. It's just an aloe. We've had it for years now. It's quite old. I've repotted it once or twice. I hardly ever water it. It doesn't grow much. And it's like, I don't know, it's been this continual shade of red forever. And even if I move it out of the bright light, it's still kind of red. It used to be green. But the leaves are still, they're thick. They're not mushy. I mean, I don't know if I call it healthy, but it seems fine. This is my other son's plant, or my second born plant, who also has a little spruce. It's a mother of millions. It's kind of just gotten really long and it's flopping over. Yeah, those are two plants I keep for people because they love them and I love them. Anyway, now on to my firstborn. Just started, I kind of discouraged him because he's like, I want to buy a tree. I want to buy a plant. I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? Don't be like me, like choose, don't follow my path. But at the same time, I, of course, supported him getting plants. So this is the first plant he picked out he really liked, and I'm glad he did because I like it too. It's a Ficus microcarpa. Whoa, stuck to the bottom of the pot, I guess. The drainage pot. So it's a Ficus microcarpa tiny limey. It's got these tiny little leaves. And yeah, I just got it, and I like it, so that, I'm happy he picked this one because when he, heads off to college or whatever, I will be happy to take care of his plant for him. Maybe I'll take it with him, I don't know. He also then, continuing the bad trend, following my footsteps of collecting plants, he bought this plant, and it is called, has these really nice flowers, and I like the leaves too. It's like somewhat succulent-like. It's not succulent. It is, I have it right here because I can never remember the name, Plectranthus. Anyways, cool plant, just a tiny little, came in a tine pot. We had to up-pot it pretty quickly because it was really crammed for space. And then another Peperomia, which, like my son, I don't know, I like Peperomias too. So this is a Peperomia, let's see, he kept all of his tags here. What is it? It's peacock. Peperomia peacock. So, cool plant. And yeah, it's cool. Unlike my second born, who I take care of his plants for him, my firstborn is totally taking care of these plants. I give him grow light space, of course, but I don't ever remind him to water or anything. He's responsible enough to do it himself, and I'm like, oh, that's good. He's learning how to, nurture another living thing. So good for him. So anyways, that's the tour of my indoor plants. And yeah, they keep me happy during the winter, so it's nice to have them around. All right, until next time, happy bonsai.